Welcome to Lesson 7.2. You know those weeks when your brain just feels like it's completely running on fumes? Today, we're going to talk about what happens when you don't have a system to fuel your brain, especially when you're already tired.
So let's start with that feeling, that moment when your brain is just running on empty, but you know you still have a ton of stuff to do. What's actually happening in our brains at that moment? Please go ahead and open your workbook to Lesson 7.2, and let's dive in.
All right, so the very first concept we need to understand is something called tired autopilot. In your workbook, you'll see your first question is all about defining this idea.
So, what is tired autopilot? Well, you can think of it as your brain's survival mode. When you're truly exhausted, its main goal switches. It stops asking, what's the best fuel for me long term? And it starts asking, what's the fastest energy I can get right now? That's when we reach for processed foods, sugar, or caffeine.
Okay, so on your page, you'll see a spot to write your own definition of tired autopilot. Think about it for a second. Why does the brain make that shift to get energy fast when it's tired? Go ahead and pause here to fill that in. This search for fast energy leads directly to a pattern I'm sure you've felt before: the spike and crash. The spike, that's the quick burst of energy and focus you feel right after that sugary snack or drink. But then comes the crash, which is often followed by brain fog, irritability, and even more tiredness. And this cycle of inconsistent fuel has some pretty real effects. It leads to that foggy thinking, low patience, and it actually creates cravings for more of that fast energy to pull you out of the crash. It also makes your memory recall weaker. You know that feeling when you know the answer, but you just can't quite grab it? Unstable energy is often the culprit. All right, it's your turn. In your workbook, answer the questions about the spike and crash pattern and how it might affect your own memory and recall. Go ahead and pause here to do that.
Now this brings us to a really important point. This is not about making you feel bad or telling you to never eat processed foods. It's about not letting them become your default system, the thing you turn to automatically, without thinking about it.
And there's a good reason why these foods are so easy to default to. Many of them are literally designed to make you crave them. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's just how product design works. They're engineered with the perfect amount of salt, sugar, and fat to hit a bliss point that makes them really hard to resist.
This also explains why sometimes whole foods like vegetables or whole grains might feel a little bland at first. It's not that the food is boring, it's just that your taste system has gotten used to much more intense flavor spikes. The long-term payoff, though, is much steadier energy. Okay, let's pause here again. In your workbook, take a moment to define default system and built for craveability in your own words, and then answer the questions that follow.
All right, let's look at another common trap for the tired brain: relying on energy drinks and really high amounts of caffeine.
It is so important to understand the difference between a boost and actual fuel. A boost is basically borrowed energy. It feels great for a little while, but it leads to a crash and it can mask what your body really needs, like sleep or nutrients. Real fuel, on the other hand, is the actual supply of steady energy your brain cells need to run consistently, without a crash.
And let's connect this all back to our systems model. Remember, strong learning starts from a calm, steady state. That's how we get into the focus zone. Fast sugar and strong caffeine, they do the opposite. They create a jittery, hyped state that fights against that go slow to go fast principle. Okay, time to connect the dots for yourself. Please pause now and answer the questions in your workbook about boosts, fuel, and how this all relates to the systems model. So, we've spent some time identifying the problems: the tired autopilot and the spike crash cycle. Now, let's pivot to the solution. How do we consciously design a better fuel system for ourselves? A really simple way to approach this is to think in terms of more and limit. The goal is not perfection. It's just to build a system where you have more steady fuel choices available, like whole grains, fruits, and proteins, and you try to limit the crash mode choices. It's about system design, not about shame. Let's make this practical. Pause for just a moment, and in your workbook, write down 2 examples of foods for your more list and 2 examples for your limit list. Okay. Now for the most important part, your action plan. Let's figure out how to interrupt that autopilot loop when you feel yourself getting tired. I just want you to pick one of these system moves to try this week. Maybe you create a fuel anchor, which is just a go-to healthy meal, or you bring a snack backup with you. You could set a water trigger to drink more water. Try one swap a day, or set a caffeine boundary.
Just choose one that feels doable for you right now.
All right, this is the final step for today. Please complete the Apply It, Systems Check, and Reflection sections in your workbook. Decide on the one system you chose. Think about when you'll do it and what you might stop doing to make room for it. Go ahead and pause here to finish up the page.
Great work today. Now, make sure you finish the Lesson 7.2 page in your workbook. In our next lesson, we're going to learn a really simple method to help reduce those spikes and crashes even more. It's called steady-state food layering. I'll see you then.